I've been thinking about vision the past few days, and I want to talk about that a little bit in terms of vision, how we perceive, how aware we are, how our ability to see beyond the veil of this physical reality into what is more real. And I'm also thinking about literal eye vision. I wear corrective lenses, these glasses. I also have contacts. And these are very strong lenses. When I take my glasses off, everything becomes less defined. I see things more in general shapes, like you would in an Impressionist painting. Now, I remember maybe 5 or 6 years ago reading a biography on the great French painter Monet, and it was covering a particular part of his life. It was the end of his life, while Europe was involved in the First World War. And it was a time when he was having a lot of issues with his eyesight because he had cataracts. He was elderly at this point. And so these cataracts, the clouding of the corneas was fogging his vision and making things blurry. And this was the very time he was working on his water lily paintings, which was his swan song, you could say, and what he's probably most famous for. And this was a very difficult time for him too, I remember in the story, because he really felt like he would want to be involved in the war. Except he was advanced in age and he was not going to be in the trenches. And so there he was making paintings. And also during the wartime in France, particularly as the war progressed, a lot of things were harder to get, like cigarettes and coffee, things like that. And so he went on to make some of the most important paintings of that century through a time where he was really challenged. I mean, he was trying different glasses. He had eye surgery that went poorly. Well, I'm thinking about that because it's a really good illustration of how we all deal with various challenges in this physical world, whether it's with our health or how money is flowing or not flowing, issues that come up in our relationships, if you're parents, struggles you have with your children. There's all kinds of things that come at us. And I'm realizing more and more as I mature that how we view, how we see, how we perceive what's going on around us makes such a huge difference. And if we can just remember that when things are challenging, when things feel difficult, that is not because you've done something wrong or this is bad. It's just part of life, and it's also where the character is formed. As it was for Monet, he did some of his most beautiful visionary work when his eyesight was failing. Failing. Was it failing or was it just shifting and changing and putting him into a place where he could do paintings that he couldn't do when he was younger and saw things more crisply and more clearly delineated? Now, I'm thinking about that. And now I've been wearing eyeglasses since I was 12 years old. And as I said, I'm quite what's been labeled nearsighted, but I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with that term because I think a lot about the words I use, because the words that we use, the things that we say, have a very powerful impact on our lives. And I have for a long time thought of myself as having, bad eyes, and I'm very nearsighted, and my father was nearsighted, and my brother and sister, and now I'm thinking differently. I'm thinking about how I love my vision and that my vision is not bad. It's my eyes are different than other people's. I see things differently. And today, in fact, I did this drawing just maybe an hour and a half ago in my visual journal. not wearing my eyeglasses. And so, like Monet, I'm seeing things more in general masses and forms, blurry, you could say, more diffused. And I've been going without my glasses more and more lately. And even before I left Paris, when I was in Italy, I would play table tennis in the park a lot with my partner, Veronique. And I was starting this experiment of going without my glasses, and I had the idea, what would it be like to try to play table tennis without my glasses? And so I took my glasses off, and we're playing, and I was amazed. And I said to her, I said, Vero, can you tell any difference in terms of my game with my glasses off or on? And she said, no. And this was an epiphany for me, because something began to shift in the way I thought about myself, my eyes, and the way I see the world. And I started to be able to love myself more in my uniqueness. Now, you're different than me, and there's nobody like you, as there's nobody like me, like snowflakes, right? They're all different. And that can be challenging at times, because part of our human instinct and the way we evolved is to be part of a clan, part of a crew, part of a tribe. That's how we survived. And there's this sort of sense of like we're all together, we all are kind of, alike, and we like similar things and we do similar things. But, as much as that can be true and there can be certain comfort and safety in numbers, it's also very problematic, because oftentimes we stifle our uniqueness, or we will look down on the aspects of ourselves that are, different, as are my eyes. And so I wanted to share this with you, because when I take time to share my story and share the things that I'm learning, it's an act of love. It's an act of sharing into this TikTok community and beyond, because I also will take this video and bring it sometimes onto Facebook, or portions of it onto YouTube Shorts. So I want to share what I'm learning, as this whole earth right now is shifting into a higher dimension, higher frequency. I'm sure you've heard other people talk about that and might think, well, what does that actually mean? And it's interesting to me too, when I look at who my audience is on TikTok, it's primarily female German girls, female girls, 18 to 24. And I think that's so interesting, because that is the age range of my daughters. And sometimes somebody's checked my profile, and I'll go on the profile, and I'll kind of, peek into their Instagram, and there's a girl, with some kind of weird filter, and she's got an outfit, and then she changed her outfit, and then checks her butt, and, and I'm looking at her room in the background, and I'm thinking, it's amazing that I have the opportunity to enter your world, and then you have the opportunity to enter my world. Man, that is incredible. I wouldn't have dreamed that this was possible when I was 18 or 19 or 20 years old. It was very different. And so how we see things and how we think about things, when challenges come, don't back down. Be like the buffalo. They say the cow, when there's a big storm coming, the cows, they back up and they go away from it, or they want to go. But the buffalo, the wild buffalo, charges right into the storm, and it goes through the storm and to the other side. So with the hardships that come, let's be like the buffalo and go right into it and then pass through it, right? Rather than kind of huddle together and be afraid and then end up kind of, the storm goes longer and longer. Does that make sense? Well, it's how you look at it, how you see things. So thanks for watching.